And for anybody else joining in, glad to see you guys all signing on, coming into this space as we wait today for just a moment, just a pause. I'm going to ask everybody to breathe. If you haven't done the lives with me and seen my page, it's called Hey Friend, Keep Breathing. So it's the base of everything, the pump, the reset, the life force, the chi. So we're just going to do a big inhale. Take up some space, expand in all directions. Feel yourself come back into your body. Exhale long and slow. Feel the day just kind of melt off your body. Take a breath into the head, like a big old balloon, inflating in all directions. Now watch it just steam off. Take a deep breath into the heart, fill it in all directions, big, wide, expansive. Slowing down, dropping down. And then take one into the belly. Fill it like a balloon, like a big old pregnant belly. Fill it up. Stretch it out all the way through the back, and then just watch it gurgle and blah, blah, blah. Hi, guys. Renee, Eden, Robert, Leslie, Lux, Denise, Courtney, Lori, Melissa, Corey, Mel. I'm so glad to see some familiar people here, some new names. I tuned into what I was called. Farid, good to see you. I was called to do back-to-back lives. Lives are still a little uncomfortable for me, putting my face on the interwebs. But there's something about holding a space collectively. There's something about opening up to be like, here I am, guys. Here you are. So back to back. Yesterday, if you tuned in, it was a reading about this new beginning. So it feels like a door opening. It feels like something's happening. A lot of stuff bubbling to the surface. Everybody kind of feeling something fresh. And of course, for everybody who's following on social media and things like that, fire horse, right? There is there's something opening. So there was some guidance about it, about how to use this time, what it is. And the reading ended on the fire horse card, which is about freedom, but really asking what freedom is about, freedom of yourself, being fully allowed to be you, a free path, but also letting other people be free, free to move on, free to make their own choices, and losing this codependent interaction, an old pattern that we've been playing in for too long, things that have broken down and broken up because the word is taking energy. What's been taken, what's been given, who takes without giving back. There's a really deep concept here called Aini. It's a Quechua term, and it's about reciprocity in its fullness, giving and receiving, giving back something from what we've taken. So here, there's a lot of giving back to the earth, realizing that it's our oxygen, our water, our food, our shelter, our clothing, all of it, all physical, material matter comes from the earth mama. And so there's a deep connection because people still farm. They still are connected to getting their hands in the soil, planting the seeds, waiting for a season for them to grow, and celebrating the harvest. And when you put all that work into the earth because you know that's going to be your sustenance, there's this deep relationship. But what's happened in modern history is that there's an energy that I call the taking energy, vampiric, parasitic, codependent, where one person takes and the other person gives and gives and gives. And I felt that one breaking apart collectively. So That's meant a lot of boundaries, that's meant a lot of information in the collective about gaslighting, about blaming, about denial. And also, colonialism has been in the collective. This idea that some countries could go to other countries and just take and say, "This is mine," put a flag in and declare it theirs. So these are the collective energies that are coming to the surface in these times. And what's being revealed in that is really profound and uncomfortable and requires us to take a good hard look at a lot of different layers, sometimes all at once. So that was the opening message that came in. That was a bit surprising. And I have everybody who's joining in to take a big, deep inhale and exhale. Softening, melting, unraveling, landing in the body here and now, here and now, here and now. Take a moment to step away from the screen, not step away, but just look around you, feel your body, tap your body, land in your physical reality. I'm just going to scroll back for a moment to say hello to Jessica, Lori, Richard, John. How am I doing? I am doing really well. I've had some very intense chapters for any of you guys who have been following along. A heck of a year, as we all have, a year of shedding, revealing, new structure, discipline, good hard looks at my own belief systems, how I got here, and starting a life again on my own 2 feet with my 3 boys. So I'm doing really well. There have been some incredible, synchronistic, miraculous, inexplicable things that have happened in the last week, for which I am utterly grateful and relieved. As many times as I have just prayed and meditated and said, okay, my life is for the highest good. It's lived for love and service to all that is. Guide me, lead me, whatever force you believe in, God, universe, creation, creator, all of it. I've just been praying and seeing myself holding God's hand. Like, lead me through this, show me what to do. Because I don't know. I tried a lot of things this year that didn't work. I tried a lot of things that I learned from. But ultimately, it was about just such a deep surrender and just learning to be caught, learning to be held over and over again. And I call it the threads of love because beyond our idea of family, of community, of our ideas of romantic love, I've been exploring what is agape, this unconditional, all encompassing, all that is love, and seeing where all those threads are, whether it's a person making me soup when I was sick or a person handing me an envelope of money. Actually, didn't even hand it to me. They put it at a cafe with my name on it and said that my writing had meant something to them and that I should keep going. Miracles caught over and over and over again. I appear to have gained weight. Maybe I'm eating well. Ah, ebb and flow, in and out. It could be. We have puffy days and slender days. That was funny. Threads of love, relationships in ways that have surprised me, supported me, come in to encourage me, um, reframe things in positive ways. Just so many gifts this year, so many surprises and miracles from the tiniest thing that was so important to me, a hug. Literally one day I prayed, God, I just need a hug. And somebody was like, do you need a hug? And I just fell into it and sobbed. And it was just the most beautiful thing. So that is an update that I'm doing well. There's still certainly hard days. There's still moments, but It feels like things are opening up, and within the last 2 days, yeah, things that I'm still in shock about, that I'm not quite ready to share in this place, but that give me great hope, great hope. So, thank you for asking. Goodness gracious, Jojo, Maria, Tara. Tara, I'm so glad you're here. Melissa, I'm so glad you're here. Goodness gracious, I love you guys. I want you to actually feel that I mean it, that I see you, that I read your stuff, that I can feel you. Let's all drop our shoulders. Let's all take that cinched back and just watch it soften. Now, I want you to notice my speed and my pacing when I'm speaking and then when I breathe, because these are subtle but very important shifts that I'll notice that I'll start getting to story. I'll start feeling your energy, which is a very fast world. I live in a very slow world. And there's a deepening that happens. My voice used to be very high and very tight, and it still can go that way. But when I take those breaths, you can actually sense it drop. You can actually hear it drop, soften, loosen the vocal cords. There's certain people that say that my voice is soothing, but I find that most people have almost what I call strangled vocal cords. There's so much anxiety, there's so much training of what hasn't been said, what's been held back, what's been shunned, denied, shamed for being spoken in the past. And it goes, and it goes really high and really superficial. And I can actually feel and sense when energy is escalating or whether it is grounding. So I want everybody to just tune into that for a minute, of when you've seen an argument, of when it starts, well, you did this, well, I didn't, and then it starts to go up here. And if everybody takes those 3 to 5 breaths and they actually feel it land, ground, settle, it is astounding what you can do from that state versus that escalated, reactive, survival, triggered brain. Cool. How are my kids doing? They're doing really well. They're 3 little boys who went through a lot. They have faced and been so brave and so authentic through it. They've made a lot of friends. They've had a lot of adventures. And we've built a lot of trust and faced things together to come together. So they're doing really well. They're strong. They're healthy. They're funny. They're so funny. So the boys are doing well. Thank you for asking. All right. I have a few cards that I can share that I pulled to sort of set the tone, the theme. And it is actually an extension from yesterday of this like new beginning, fresh start. What is freedom? Both the coming together with ourselves in integrity. What we say, what we do, what we think is the same. How we feel, what our body guides us to do is the same. Our heart and our mind work together. That is a unified person, a person with integrity, a person that doesn't have multiple faces. They are who they are, who they are. And they show up. And I had people say that not a lot of people do that, which says a lot of where we're at. But I think more and more people are rising to realize that that's what's needed within ourselves first. So this is an extension of that. Oh, and there was also a splitting apart that as people's light comes on, as they shine brighter, as they're more integrated, as they're more them, other people start to fall away, get triggered, and drop off. And it can be dramatic. It can be non-dramatic. It can just be a step back. And I write a lot about not ghosting, communicating truth, and seeing where people can show up for it. So that's been a process, right, of coming into integrity, being able to speak it to the level in which people can hear it and see what the response is, and it shows everything. It just is so revealing. It's so revealing when we don't avoid and try to, you know, step around and hedge and try to make everything okay for people, but we just say it as it is, and you'll just see people reveal themselves so quickly. And so there's a coming together of themselves, but there's also a shedding, but there's also with that a pulling together of a new foundation that's going to bring in the people situations that are yours. Cool. So that was a quick recap of yesterday and then ended on the fire horse, which was crazy and fun. And I can't plan these things. Like it's great. Um, but what I got was the me tox detox. So this is about toxins. And toxins can come in so many layers. I'm going to take 2 steps back, take a breath, because I just felt somebody's stomach cramp up and get really, really, really tight. So everybody take a big breath into the stomach, expand, and exhale. Feel your guts just kind of unravel and soften. It's amazing how much people hold anxiety in there. And interestingly enough, we're talking about detox because so much of it is held in the gut. So let's just bring attention to the stomach for a moment. Notice it, feel it, sense it, be with it. See if you're holding it. See if you're holding back farts. You guys know I love to talk about farts, but seriously, watch us soften. Okay. So, for people who haven't tuned into the basic 101 of healing, I will go through it quickly this time. I always say that and then I go into these spin outs, whatever. One, pump the body with life. Breathe more air. Our bodies are depleted of oxygen. Drink more clean and clear water. Bless it. And eat real food that's nutrient dense. These things feed life. So, when you don't have enough of them, you're depleted. Number 2 is purification, and that's releasing what's being held. Our bodies need to get rid of stuff. Poop, mucus, phlegm, that's kind of mucus, and sweats, tears, itches, cracks, like all of the things we've been shamed and controlled to not do because they're offensive, they're gross, whatever. We need to let it go. And then there's a lot of softening the actual system so more blood can flow through. And then there's basically things that we hold on to are trying to release, but they're trying to go out physically and literally out a specific direction. So I tell people if you have an issue with your shoulder, work on the fingertips. If you have an issue in your lower back and your knees and your ankles, work on your feet because those toxins will go outward, out and down, because heavy, stinky goes out and down. Yeah, farts. As soon as you start that belly breath and you soften your guts, the body will naturally release. So there's layers to this breath work. There really, really are. That it's not just pumping the oxygen, but it's actually getting your system back online. And as you focus on the body goes, oh, thank God you see me. You're paying attention to me. And it will release. So if anybody else is farting, raise your hand. I love it. That's exactly why we do these. These things are subtle and people have no idea that I'll be like, hey, breathe. But it's putting life into your body. It's bringing your nervous system down. It's grounding your system. It's pulling the energy away from the head or disassociated. And it immediately gets your purification systems back online. So yeah, we're farting. Let's do another big belly breath. Deeper. And this time wiggle it a little bit. Do a little scooch from side to side and just feel it loosen. Cool. So understanding how this body wants to heal, can heal, was designed to heal is for me really important. Why all of these ancient methodologies work. People do them, but they don't really feel them. They don't understand that they are actually literally changing things inside of your cells. So this is great. I love the interaction. Thank you for sharing about your farts. It's best. Cool. So Once we pump the body, let it release the stuff it doesn't need, soften things, which is why the relax, loosey goosey thing works, then the body will just naturally purify, detox itself because it was designed to. It was just shut down. So when we talk about that, I also kind of next level after the 101 course. Oh, and I forgot the cracks and the pops because a lot of the inflammation gets caught in the joints. People know about chiropractic and releasing that inflammatory gas, but they forget they have joints and cracks everywhere. So as you soften the tissue, the cracks are the deepest part and they'll naturally start to release. So don't fight the crack. Don't think you're going to get arthritis or whatever crazy myth has come about. Everybody feels better after a good crack. So that's what the body will do. That's what it will do each time. And once you actually feel where that energy, it's very subtle. It's a tickle, a twinge, a zing, a heat, a shiver. Those things are your body's language to speak of what's moving energetically and literally, physically. So what I don't get into are the toxins we put in. So a system, if you keep overloading it, overloading it, overloading it, eventually the body goes, ah, I wasn't designed for this much. And we live in a modern society that's like got stuff it didn't have just like 2 generations before when we're talking about microplastics and constant electromagnetic radiation I get into when we're talking about noise pollution, mechanical noise, every single app and machine running in your house that's buzzing, that has a frequency, constant inputs of things from the screen. Yeah, we evolve very slowly to be in nature with natural noises and sounds. And so each one of these inputs matters, every single one of them. So I try to decrease the inputs of toxic, inflammatory, hot, overloading stuff. And that's where certain self control lies, turning off music, turning down lights, turning off routers, turning off the screen and putting your phone down, that these things are less inputs of an overtaxed system that used to hunt and gather and sit around the fire and carry water and have a task that was physical, that was grounded, that was moving. And now we're just in the head, buzzing, not even feeling the effects of any of that stuff. So there's a certain amount of detox that I tell people, if you don't want the inflammatory response, but you're eating only inflammatory food, there's only so much your body can clean out that it was designed to do. So maybe chill it out a little bit. I'm not a big person of like quit it all, stop it all, but like what happens when you turn it to half? What happens when you just do it a couple times a week instead of every single day, twice a day? And that's where I do these micro adjustments or social experiments to actually take a variable, shift it a little bit, and see, feel, sense what happens. So if you haven't turned on your lights and turned off your router at night, try it. You will find that your dreams come back, your sleep is more deep, you're less stressed out, you're less reactive during the day. And that's just one input. Then what happens if you turn off social media just a little bit and you can think a little bit straighter, have more clarity and more energy and more time to put into the projects you want? We are energetic systems. What we put in, we have to take out. So, yeah, inputs and outputs. The other part is, of course, the toxic thinking. Now, I am so grateful for work of like Joe Dispenza and different, there's a lot of masculine work that's very much mind based. And I think it's very important to notice thoughts, reframe thinking, see what's a lie, see what's an illusion, and shift it. Go in with curiosity, see what it's feeding and where it comes from. If it's based from fear, if it's based from reaction, self-preservation. Like, that's wonderful that this work is in the collective, and I'm so, so grateful that so many of these concepts are here and now for us to all learn, grow, and practice together. So, yeah, it's what I'm getting right now is like there are things that cannot go in to a new beginning at a certain level, vibration, reality, when they're heavy, when they're old, when they don't work anymore. And they're the things that were like, but they're my comfort, but it's part of my routine, but it's all I've ever known. And so it's a very intense time to look at those things and say, oh crap. Darn it, that one? Seriously? Of all the things, of course it had to be that. I find myself laughing a lot about it, of, like, the most comfort, the biggest attachment, the hardest thing to shake tends to be the one that spirit, your guides, your ancestors, your higher self, whatever, are like, "Ugh, that one can't go." So you can, like, leave it willingly, easily, little by little with practice, or we're gonna rip it out of your hands. And the rip out of the hands is not always comfortable, and I don't know for any of you that, like, have some intuition where you're like, "I don't think I'm supposed to be at this job anymore. I think this is draining me, this is taxing me, but it's comfortable and I like the paycheck, and what else would I do? And, well, I'll just hold on to it a little bit longer, and, oh, maybe I can change it, and, oh, maybe I can figure it out." And then all of a sudden just like layoffs, and you're like, "Well, I did know." And I saw this coming, and I had 6 months to kind of mentally prepare, but I would have rather it because it's comfortable and known, and I didn't know what my options were. But eventually, the loving, supportive universe that holds us and guides us and always brings us back to our path will just rip it out of our hands. I also talk about the whisper versus the scream. So our body will whisper with a little twinge, a little ick, that little feeling in the mouth that, you know, that's like sticky. That's like, you're going to get sick if you don't slow down. And you're like, but I just gotta do this and that and the other thing. And the body's like, but you can feel it, right? You can feel that little taste in the mouth. You can feel that little raspiness in the breath. You're being told to chill out, lay down, but it's not a comfortable thing at the moment. Life doesn't make it easy to pause and then all of a sudden just like laid flat. So the loving universe will whisper and then it will nudge and then it will eventually knock you in the back of the head and it'll yell. And so I prefer the whisper now. I used to, and still do sometimes. I used to say I need to learn the hard way for some reason. Like it really needs to shake me. And then I was like, I don't prefer that. I don't, I don't like that. It's very dysregulating and difficult and a lot to climb out of and clean up. And so I tend to listen to the whisper now, where you get a sense of it, you get an intuitive hit, you start to dream about it. It comes in messages and themes and conversations, um, that we can make the shift early when it's being gentle, when it's being whispery. But if you don't, you can prefer the hard way. Um, which will still get you there. It's just a harder, deeper lesson. I'm so glad other people are starting to hear the whisper. The whisper is hard to hear also because there's so much shouting and inputs. So there's another layer to this of when we turn down the music, have a little silent time, don't have our nervous system fried with constant tabs and loud noises and things like that, we can actually hear that subtle voice. We can actually hear the whisper of the body through the tingle, the twinge, the sweats. So that is what this time is asking for all of us. And then the other card was the hero's journey. And this one's really like there's an unmarked trail ahead of you, and you will be guided and led. But you can, of course, go get yourself lost in the forest, or you can listen to the intuition and realize maybe a bird is guiding you. I realize how many of my metaphors are from the jungle. If you don't know, I went off grid to live in the jungle for 3 years. Of course, it looked mad and nonsensical, and people are like, "Why don't you just move to the States?" I'm like, "Because it was a call, because I needed to go. There were 1,000 reasons I needed to go to experience what I did." Um, but now many of my metaphors are very forest and nature based. Let's all take a deep inhale, soften, steam. The reason I do these pauses is because many people separate out spiritual practices into like an hour a day, a yoga class, a meditative space. And that's great because it gives us that place to come back home to. But what I like to do is I like to integrate it into every day, noticing when my energy is shifting, noticing when I'm feeling lower, noticing when I'm feeling shaky, and taking that moment in the moment. I call it real time because it is real time to just notice that shift, notice that I was talking fast, expansive space taking, and just notice if you, as you take that breath, want to crack your neck, want to shift in your seat because the body will respond. Start to connect that moment between the breath, the awareness, and that immediate visceral, like very tangible response of the body of noticing the shiver, all of a sudden being like, oh, I need to pee right now because I didn't notice it. I wasn't fully in my body. I was in the screen. I was in my head. So as you inhale, land, feel, shift around, stretch the back, shake it out. I like to do that a lot. I do it throughout the day, and I feel it helps me stay tuned in because it's very easy to have our energy and our attention pulled in many different directions. So to come home and come home and come home through the day becomes a place that you can just stay. Ah, JJ, glad to have you here. Zodiac, Akil, Wayne, glad to have you guys all here. If I missed anybody, I love you, Rebecca. Um, Thank you guys for being here. So, new beginnings, what we can't take, detox time. Yeah, it means some new choices. It means some things that we're letting go of. All right, guys. So that was the message that I got to kind of you'll notice I burp and fart through this because I live it. I don't just like talk about it like we should all fart more. No, it works. I do it all the time. It's great. Let's normalize all the farts. Thank you guys for commenting about your bodily functions. I really love it. Cool. I want to open up the chat for questions because I do know that I mentioned in previous lives that this is an open participation and that I can help pull in clarity for certain areas, bodily pain, stuck areas, because these things are not always surface level. And there's a reason we get stuck from where we stand and what we see. And so having a fresh look at it from outside can help see some of the layers and different angles to look at the issue with. And the thing is, if you have a question, there's a power in a collective gathering, that there's a constellation of souls. There's a reason that we're all here together, whether you believe that or not. But your question might very much be the exact question that somebody else has and probably is. So please bring up stuff that you can ask, and I can pull a card on it and just see if there's a channeled message that comes through. Boy mom with the farts, my voice, they know that, like, let your body do what it needs to do. But I also am like, listen, this isn't socially appropriate, acceptable, or understood by everyone. So I want you to know anytime you're here in the home, fart it out, cry it out, cough it out, hawk up the loogie, get it out, go shake, go run, and, like, they do it, they just know. But then coming back into society after being in the jungle where they could literally spit, pee, fart anywhere and did, now there is a certain amount of, like, blowing up a van with a bunch of other people. So I'm like, just understand that you still have permission to do it. It's your body, it's your space. But there are ways to do it more respectfully when you step out of the car, open a window, warn people. So that's been a very funny thing because I do think the natural processes are so important for us to start to accept, embrace. But I also don't want them coughing over people or bombing people in a car with their toxins. So that's been a funny learning for us. Boy, mom as well. Oh my gosh. Wow. There's a bunch of us. Fantastic. Um, Stuck to the scream in all high volume. Fair enough. That's the world. I have no judgment for it. For me, it's just noticing it. I wonder what would happen. Sometimes I'll just be like, boys, 3 clicks down. We do have a screen. What would happen is their ears actually tune to it, and you'll notice that people all start talking a little bit quieter, and people will start being able to hear a little bit more. Um, so yeah, high volume and stuck to the screen. It is so hard to have those screen limitations when it feels like you're the only one doing it. And of course, they're going to fight the dopamine hit and the addiction and all of that stuff is so real and pulls so hard. But what would it look like? What would it feel like to have different ways and examples, is what I'm hearing. I know for me, if I give my boys the options to do certain things that they like, of course they're going to do them. But sometimes I just put myself outside, no screen, and they just follow me. So notice if you're on the screen, notice how you feel when you are, and try to do like, not like, oh God, I have to be off all the time, but like a micro adjustment. I'm going to do a 5 minute time where I sit outside somewhere, look elsewhere, and just sense into my body. And then just, yeah, not that you have to change it. I don't know if you were asking, but I know that's a really hard one for people. And I don't know if you guys remember where the ages are all at, but I remember getting my first phone, the little brick Nokia. I'm 42, going to be 43 soon. And then it was so slow how it amped up. Like people played the snake game, you would do the texting. And then the next level was like that first iPod where you'd play music. And then the next level was like the iPhone, and there weren't that many apps, and you used it for phone calls and music and the phone. And then it just added on and added on and added on. And it was like this boiling pot where all of a sudden 10 years later, everybody's on it all the time and have it strapped to their wrist. Well, I had an experience where I showed up in Peru in the peak of that. And when I was on screens all the time, and all of a sudden I landed in Peru, lost my phone, and I landed back in reality. And I was in a country where no one used a phone, and my whole system changed. I was like, oh my God. Like it felt like I was shaken out of a dream. And I was so grateful for people's eyes and smiles. Everyone would say hello to each other. And it was like going back 10, 15 years, but I had forgotten that reality existed. So then I watched Peru slowly get onto phones. It actually wasn't slowly, it was very quickly. There was like a 6, 7 year period where almost no one had a smartphone and everybody was outside talking. You'd get invited to people's houses. People would be like, oh, I have extra pears. Here, take some. And I just remember being like, humanity, we're alive, eyeballs, people looking up. This is incredible. Well, then COVID hit, and all of a sudden, everyone needed a phone because they were in their houses and they were disconnected. And it was like everyone went to screens from every generation so quickly, only they didn't get a laptop first and a dumb phone first and slow adoption of apps. It just went into the deep end where they had TikTok and shorts, and shorts are the most fragmenting energy I've ever experienced. It's like channel surfing, like, and like Peruvians got their phones, and that was the only thing that was on and free and optimized for easy data consumption. That's actually a thing in developing nations. Instead of like heavy data heavy things with low internet usage, we have like 3G here. And they, bam, got shorts. And all of a sudden, the consciousness shift. All of a sudden, people disappeared. And it was so loud because people didn't know to use their earbuds. So I've gotten to experience this crazy swing of like being in one reality, slow build up, having it disappear and landing back in like present day physical human reality where people connect to each other, which was amazing. And then like slow adoption, and then just like through the roof. So I got to see what the screen did to psyches, slow, fast, and through the generations, which I don't think many people notice. They just sort of almost forget and only see what's here and now in front of them. But I think the past and the present and the future are all important states to see how patterns shift, context shift. Anywho, went on a big old thing about screens, but I think it's one of the biggest addictions and one of the biggest drains of people's energy, and an incredible tool, of course, and can be used as a tool for creation and connection. And it can be a tool to just literally siphon off all your energy and just leave you with your head hanging and gray. So, how do you use it? How do you want to use it? What is it for you? I'm not here to judge. I'm here to explore patterns, share observations, and also say with deep compassion and understanding, these things are addictive AF. Okay. Deep breath in. Whoa, technology. Let's all look around. Feel the skin. Feel the temperature on your skin. Feel the weight of your butt on the chair or the bed. Feel your head. If it has been hanging with that phone, just lift it up and drop the shoulders here and now. Expanding. What would life be like if you had it and you had control of it and it didn't control you? That's the question to ask with a lot of these things, right? Is it something that you utilize, or does it use you? Do you consume it, or does it consume you? That's the balance. It's not good or bad. It's the relationship with it and the power dynamic of, are you dependent on it? Is it something you need? Because true freedom does not have that leash. Cool. Any questions out there? Screens, etc. I can still feel the past reality before cell phones. Tarot, wonderful. Yes, it exists and it can still exist. That's the thing about multiple realities existing on planet Earth. It's where we're tuned into, it's what choices we're making. And so I want you to sense into that feeling of being able to say hi to your neighbor and people not walking into the street. I saw this thing about, I think it's South Korea or Japan, where people are looking down so much that they don't even have the blinking light to cross streets in the city up. They put it on the ground because that's where everyone's looking. So I do a lot of funny little things on my notes of like how to like look up at the sky, see what the clouds look like, see where the sun is, see the quality of the light, notice if there's a rainbow. People are like, I don't see them. It's because their heads are not looking. They don't feel the intuition and the pings because they're not paying attention to it. It's where our focus goes. That's how simple it is. I won't say easy. Simple It's not always easy, but it's a very simple concept, no? It's a very obvious concept of, like, look up and look around you, put the phone down, make the choice, even if it's just for a minute. That's a powerful choice. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, "Oh, I'm going no phone detox." Like, I find people swing in the opposite direction. I'm gonna not use my phone for a month. Like, that's crazy. You need it. There are things that you use for it. Don't go without it, but, like, see what happens if you can just make a little bit of a different choice. That's why my micro adjustment of, like, I don't want to drink coffee every morning and, like, feel like I need to chug it just to start the day. So I put it off, and when I put it off, I would get into other things, and then I wouldn't crave it or need it, and it was a much nicer way for me to quit coffee. So I just share these ideas. So take them or leave them. It is a balance. That's the thing. It's not good or bad. It's not evil or wrong. It's like, what's the balance for you? And it's going to be very different for each person. Very different. So the comparison and the judgment of others, it's ludicrous. What is the balance for you? What would feel right and better and healthy and aligned, whatever words you want to use for you? Balance is this time. Exhale. Got fast again. All right. Lifestyle changes, not about fads. Checking in with you, listening to your intuitive pings. I find that spirit is guiding every single one of us every single day, all the time, through what's being brought to our attention if we can just pay attention. So I call these themes, things to check in on. What are the themes coming up for you? Those songs you hear, the conversations that come in, the things that show up in your feed a few times, the things that you have a thought about. That's the next thing that wants to be looked at. That's the next thing that wants to be healed. It's being guided, it's being led. And so I'll ask people in session time, like, what's the stuff that's coming up? And that's the next thing. We don't have to dig in 15 years into our past. We don't have to go to past life. It will arrive as it's needed, as it's guided. You don't need to unlock all of your intuitive and spiritual gifts. As you do that little next step, that little next curiosity, that little thing that's surfacing, even if it's a rash, and a lot of times it is. That, like, I don't know why I said that. Does anybody have rashes? That skin deep surface level is the first area that's gonna open up. So actually look at it, be curious about it, ask why, see where it is on your body. It will guide you if you just pay attention to the thing that's calling. That's the whisper. Otherwise, it goes out of control and starts shouting and makes life completely miserable and unlivable until you look at it. Exhaling. Boundaries, 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 the shifting, moving. Where am I? Where are you? What's healthy? What can come in? Kara just asked, or she just brought up boundaries and balance. What is the healthy way for moving forward? I find that too. I find that too around money, about resources, about not seeing money as bad or good, but a tool. We're all being asked to look at our boundaries at different levels, whether it's friendships, relationships, the people that like talk at you and never ask, how are you? The people that come in with the same story and complain about the same thing and being like, you know what? I have to go do something else with love, with kindness, but being like, I don't have the hour to sit and hear the same story again. High notes from Dragon Nest. Thank you for being here. The freedom to be them is the comment about screen time and outside with the critters. Wonderful. Guilt for allowing cell phones before I knew the consequences. It's an interesting one. Before I knew the consequences. For people that are tuning in, when people join in lives, they can ask questions, they can bring things up. And then I just, as I see them, I respond to them if there's something there. I feel guilt for being able to allow something before I knew the consequences. Okay. Um, there's a message coming in for that because that's bigger. That's bigger than you. First, we knew what we knew. We knew what we knew. 2008 mom wasn't trying to screw over 2025 mom. She was looking out for the best for her kids, right? I knew what I knew. Now I know what I know. So here's the crux point, the transition point, the self-responsibility point. Not in guilt, not in shame, not in blame. I knew what I knew. So I'm going to forgive past self who knew what they knew. They didn't know better. Okay. As we develop and we learn, there are consequences, cause and effect to things. Now I know what I know. What do I do with knowing more? There's a certain point of integrity, point of self responsibility to make a different choice. We don't need to blame or stay in that energy of past self. We can forgive that. We can let that go. But now I'm here now and I see the effects. I know what it does to the brain. I see what it does to the fragmentation of energy. I see what it does as a program that's running and being input into a young mind. I see the addiction thread. Now what? What does it look like to take responsibility? Am I a protector of my children's energy? When do they become responsible for it? When do they need to learn the lesson? So it depends on age, it depends on consciousness, depends on the contract that you signed with them. But there is a certain point, at least for me, this is for me, that I feel that I have the responsibility as a guide, a caretaker, a parent to introduce that concept and create limits and hold those for myself. That is not an easy thing to say. That is not an easy thing to look at. That is, I made a mistake. How will I write it? And this is a question we have to ask right now. Not living in guilt, not living in shame and blame, but saying, I own that. I didn't know. So I'm going to forgive myself. But now that I know, what would I do differently? What would that healthy interaction look like? What would that blow up look like that actually they might thank me for later? Yeah. Where is that boundary? So boundaries come in all shapes, size, and forms. But exhaling. Self responsibility, self accountability, and righting past wrongs is part of what we're being asked at this time without blame, but with deep compassion for the person who didn't know. Hi, Aman. Big lesson not to love harder or more, but in a way that doesn't harm me, where we don't betray ourselves, lose ourselves, give what isn't ours to give. Whether it's the lesson, the experience, the fixing somebody, all that stuff. What is love? Comes in so many forms and threads. I'm going to drink some water. Until just take a breath, land in your body. Connect to the world outside of the screen, touch something, look at something, notice something. That's grounding. Touch, taste, sense, feel. All right. ASMR. By the way, I have a podcast that's called Hey Friend. Keep breathing. Same thing. And I started doing very whispered, low messages because there's a certain sensitivity for energy that people who pick up on ASMR, it's a meridian response, right? A sensory meridian response. So I find people that tap into ASMR, and if you don't know, it's like kind of creepy. It's like people tapping and whispering and making sounds, but it's just sensory. It's stopping and listening to just one sense. So that is why I call it that. And that is why I kind of connect to people who listen, because you have to turn it down and not be listening to other things. And that is a rare person indeed who doesn't have 5 tabs open and listening to a podcast while driving, while eating. Maybe we can all slow down and do one thing at a time. Hey, wouldn't that be nice? Exhale. Does anybody have any questions? We're coming up on an hour, and I try to keep them at about an hour long. So if there's anything that people want to bring up, yeah, lessons right now, you're absolutely right. Boundaries, because that siphoning, taking, exploitation, colonialist, take but don't give back energy that requires people to say, wait a second, you're taking something that's not yours. That's my time, my energy, my money, my stuff that I worked for. Wait a second. Uh, yeah, that can't happen or I'll be left empty and dead. I'm going to connect to source to recharge. I'm going to connect to my authenticity and the things that fill me up, and you can do the same. So that's kind of where my boundary line has been. Where are things just draining me and not giving me anything back? That's been my question. And then where do I close those gaps? Where do I close those loops that I didn't mean to? I was just sort of leaking. How do we land in a safe place after I leave where I am? My nervous system wants to land in a safe place after I leave where I am. Where are you? Where are you in your head? Are you in worry? Are you in fear? Are you in doubt? Are you thinking about every worst case scenario? I'm responding to a question on the live chat for people who are watching after. Um, where we are is a state, it is a vibration, a state of being, a mode. So, safety for the nervous system, start giving that safety. What does safety feel like, look like? Being held, hold yourself. Being told you are loved, I love you. Tell yourself that. I've been doing that a lot. I've been doing that for 15 years because safety is so stinking important. And we all look for it outside. We all look for it in the money, in the house, in the stability, in the whatever. But the more we go, I am safe with you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to criticize you right now. I'm not going to try to make you be somewhere you're not because you're here, my love. You're here. So I'm going to let you be here. I'm going to let you exist as you are for a moment. And I would feel myself go, oh my God, I didn't get to do that. Now I feel a little more okay, a little more safe, a little more like I can drop my shoulders, stretch out, be weird, cry a lot, do my thing. When I gave myself that safety over and over, there were times that I would rock myself out on the patio in the dark and just say, I love you right here and now. I love you right here and now as you are. When I was not proud of myself, when I was feeling ashamed, disgusted, angry, and despair, I would just somehow remember this tool that unconditional love is without conditions. And I wanted to teach myself over and over again, I will love you here and now. I will not abandon you. I will not betray you. I will not lie to you. I will just sit with you here as you are, lovable, worthy. And I would just rock myself and sob. And I would rock myself and I would pull myself in. And I would just do that until that wave moved. So that came through for you. Um, hard not to fear when I'm being asked to leave where I'm living without any physical support. Girl, I get you. It is freaking hard. I just want to validate that. Yeah, absolutely. That is the hardest thing. I heard for myself a message and for the collective. We are being asked to trust something bigger. That thing that has guided you where you are, that thing that has guided you back home, that thing that has guided you with love, that whisper that always wants you to be well, God, universe, love, creation, whatever. For you, I feel like it's higher self, maybe that you call it. We are being asked to trust beyond what is seen in a way that is terrifying. Of course, we feel scared. It's not about not feeling scared. It's just, what are we going to do? Are we going to lay down and be like, okay, I guess I'll die? I mean, that's kind of the option in those moments, right? I've been there. So I pray. I pray to my ancestors and my guides and God and the angels and my ascended masters and love. And I'm just like, show me. Please show me what my next step is. I'm seeing the Frozen 2, the next right thing. Just do the next right thing. That there is going to be fear and we do have to face it and we still have to move in some direction. And if that direction is just washing your hair, I've had those days, then that's the next thing. So I will tap on my heart and I will pray and I will see myself hold God's hand. If you don't know, I left the jungle with nothing, no money, no stuff, no security, no job, and my 3 boys. It was a rough situation, but I was told it's time to leave. And I had heard that call for a long time. I heard it was time to go. And I just kept being like, how? Don't go down the how hole. The how hole is a vortex of all the things we don't feel ready to do. So I just hold God's hand. I pray and say, show me the next right thing. And sometimes it's go to bed. Sometimes it's eat ice cream. Sometimes it's walk into that shop. Sometimes it's talk to that random person. But I want you to know that miracles have caught me. The things that have happened in the last day and through my life, if you can look back, I want you to hold that little miracle of a time you didn't know what was going to happen and something opened up, something that you could not control, that you did not plan for, that you did not create, that's something that caught you. Because remembering that state puts us in that vibration. Oh, yeah, that exists. Infinite possibilities exist. Infinite ways that things can come in exist. That one phone call, that one response, that one click, you never know what it's going to be. So you can overthink it in the how hole, or you can just grab God's hand and go, exhale, return to my whole body, my whole self, using my shivers, using my zings, using my intuition, the whole self. It's not just the head. Because if we get stuck in there, man, that place is crazy sometimes. And you exhale. And you say over and over again, I deserve love. I deserve support. I am not in this alone. Show me. Show me how I am not in this alone. I felt friggin' alone many times. Holy crap. And something came through every time. So something will come through. Of course, you want to land in a safe place. Of course, you deserve safety, but you have to start cultivating it in you, within you, knowing and starting to trust you with every breath. Boom. I have the oxygen and life force to keep going. Boom. I need to sleep because if that's not fueled up, I'm crazy. Then we build trust. Then we build safety. Then we know that we are caught because we create that safety, literally. With our breath, with our I need to drink water or I'm going to fry because the nervous system needs water. Synapses need water. The blood needs water to flow. The blood needs water to purify. So if we aren't giving those base needs, nothing will work. You won't hear anything. The body will just be in total freak out and panic. That's not a good place. That place sucks. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that place. And if you don't, wow, you're amazing. But I know that place. So that self-love in the hard moments, even when you're a wreck and you're falling apart and your identity and everything that you thought you can control is not working. And you go, oh yeah, there's God. Oh yeah, there's my guides. Oh yeah, there's my friend next door who's been telling me to come over for tea. Whatever it is, follow that. That is the next right step. The universe is always guiding us every single step of the way, every single moment, but we just forget because it gets so loud in our head, in the world. Let's all exhale. I got passionate. Thank you guys for all sticking with me, hanging out. Let's ground the energy back down. Let's Land here now. It is reminders. We do need to remind ourselves, and that's why we show up for this, because we're here to help each other remember. We're walking each other home. We cannot do it alone. I'm happy to be that mirror and that reminder. I am so grateful to have had reminders for me to look at it from a new perspective, for me to remember the positive things. Because, man, when you're close to doom and despair, that's all you can see. So, when we have those others that can lift us out and just remind us of those other states of being, hope, peace, love, possibilities, they exist. So we come back to that work, that foundational, that fundamental work that will hold us and keep us safe and stable, because the physical body needs stuff. We just forget. Exhaling. Tara, oh, you're welcome. I just want you to know I'm here with you. I don't say this from a place of I know better. I've just lived it a lot. I've made a lot of, I'm not listening to God. Cool. That was uncomfortable. Good reminder. Thanks. Um, yeah, I've just been reminded enough times and practiced enough times. And then when we do practice that state, exhaling again, loosey goosey again, oh, stretch it out again. It starts to become a baseline state because we know where it is. That's why the discipline and the practice. And I don't like the word discipline because my system totally rejects it, freaks out, resists it. But I'm getting more comfortable with it, I guess, now. And for people that have the discipline and they're working on the flow, that's just as valid. Like, if you are a person that can, like, you are routine, ritual, repeat, but then that gets really stagnant, stuck, and you need to learn flow, then you practice that. What does it mean if I just do something a little unexpected? What does it mean if I do that little thing that I kind of forgot I like to do? It's a balance, and we kind of go this way into do structure, and then kind of loop stagnation. And then we're like, oh, okay, wait, I gotta like even it out and go get a little inspired, do a little something fun, do something not because it's productive. So it's always kind of bringing us home into that balance point, which is always shifting, ever changing, new context. It's an adventure, it's a journey. We don't know. Any questions? Shall I pull a couple more, a closing message, y'all, or does anybody have anything else to bring in? All right, everybody take that lower back and that lower below the belly button, lower dantian, or fupa, if you will, for ladies. The uterus, the sacred vessel. Everybody take a deep breath into that. Oh. Stretch out and tuck the pelvis under. Everybody overarches and pulls. Tuck the pelvis under. Hold it like that. Wiggle around the hips. Because I just felt somebody's back like cinched up, upright. And so find that balance point where you can release it, soften it. Find that balance point where you can take this spot right here, breathe into it, and just watch it. Notice those tensions in real time. Notice those little constrictions, contractions, resistances in the body in real time. Am I still here? My light just changed. That was odd. It went from orange to green. Green light, go. We're all good. I'm just seeing if it's a message. I pay attention to all the little details because I find that they're all telling me something. Angel numbers are very real. They guide us. There are certain synchronicities, and people have different ways of tuning in, whether it's the thought that pops in, the image that pops in, the sensation, and learning to see what they mean, tune into it and see what does this mean to me? What exactly am I doing right? Doing. Hi, Assemblywoman Deborah. Welcome. We're just hanging out. We went deep. I think that we laughed, we wiggled, we breathed. We talked about resistance and self-love. Let me just tune in. My body feels so tense with y'all. Everybody wiggle. Have you ever seen a kid? They get to move their arms up here. They get to do whatever they want until they're told, sit down, sit like this. That's not appropriate. Don't crawl on the floor. So just for a minute, let's all like just wiggle. Less serious, less held, like more. Can you feel it when I actually say that sound? Say that sound? Um, there's like certain frequencies that help us melt, unravel, soften, steam off. Feel if you're tired. Feel if it's time to go to bed. You can click off. Feel if you need to pee. Pay attention. So the final message, the closing message to the cosmic heart, the devotion, and making your life a moving prayer. What are we devoted to, spend our time doing, put our energy into? That's what we're creating. Whether it's a breath, whether it's a doom scroll, that's what we're creating. There's a lot of people that have this idea of spirituality that's very showy. I have a bunch of people who are like, I have a bunch of crystals, or I have this Shibibo tapestry, or I've drunk with this shaman on Machu Picchu. Does it make you spiritual? No, it's a rock. It's a drink. It's a place. For me, the integration of spirituality and integrity is living it, being it, doing it, imperfectly, messily, all of that. But for me, that moving prayer of life, that consistent check-in that we did during this time, that sensing in to the shoulders, sensing into the heart. Did anybody feel that in their heart? Let's all fill the heart up. Let's all connect to just pure love for a moment. I got my hand on my heart. Feel it beat within you. Feel it lead you, guide you. It's the boss. It's the real boss. It's the guide, the map. It's that drop of divine that knows all of it. Pumping 100,000 times a day, moving your blood through you, healing every part of you. Let's just feel it. What are you devoting yourself to? Where does your time and energy go? Is that where you want it to go? Is that what you want to create? How do you make your life a moving prayer? I'm having a memory pop in. I had this, like, I got onto a bus. I was on a colectivo. There's these shared vans in Peru. You like hop on, hop off. It's like, so convenient, but totally crowded and wild and dusty and stinky and sometimes full of chickens. I was just jumping on a bus to go somewhere. And I heard God say, you need to talk to this man. It was the driver. And I heard him praying and praying and praying to God, praying and praying, desperate for God to speak to him about his son who was sick. And I saw the whole thing play out in just a quick flash of like, his son was really sick. They didn't know what it was. But all of the anxiety and the fear was actually driving the sickness. But it was something that was very healable and just passing through and was helping the family come together actually. But he was praying and praying and praying and praying. And he didn't stop to listen. He didn't mean to. It's just we've been taught to pray a certain way, to ask to ask, and not to listen. And so I ended up having to, not having to, I never have to, but sharing. It was a very awkward interaction because I never really know how to handle these things. Um, I was just like, "Sir, do you have a sick son?" And he, looked at me, and I was like, "There's a message." I talked to the Holy Spirit, and I use different words for different people. It's very Catholic here. So if I say like, "Oh, I talked to my ancestors and guides," it's all the same force, by the way. It's just differentiated into perspectives and energies. Uh, but I said, I have a message from the Holy Spirit, that your prayers have been heard. And I repeated his prayer back to him. And of course, his face drops like he saw a ghost. And I'm like, it's real. Um, God is real, and you're heard, and your son's going to be okay. But like, exhale. And like his whole system dropped, and he immediately started tearing up, which of course he tried to pull back. And I just said, it's going to be okay. God is always talking to us through all these tiny symbols, synchronicities. You'll see me look around. You'll see me um, look into space or at things. But it's meaningful. It's speaking to me, and it's speaking to all of us. And when we realize that this is the language of the universe, God, love speaking to us, and we start to realize it has meaning, sometimes those things are hard to decipher. I get that. But we're always being told something by God, by our heart, by that whisper. But we need the practice to be quiet. We need the practice to turn it down. And we make our life a moving prayer of what thoughts we have in here, what words we speak, what actions we live. And this is a devotion to a higher way of being, where you know that you're one with life force, God, creation, with a purpose, with a place, with a divine speck of reason to be here. This is embodied, lived, acted upon, unified spirituality. Aho. I think that was the final message. Love you guys. I'm just a regular old human being that just allows messages to come through me for you, for your highest good, for all of us. So thank you for allowing me to share this space with you, this evening with you. I had a lot of candles lit tonight. It felt right. And burned some nice smelling herbs. And just wanted to check in with you guys. But there were a few people that had missed the live, and for some reason I just was asked to come on and share stuff. So as I do, I open my mouth and let stuff come out. That's really it. So if it resonates, cool. If it doesn't, cool. um, but I just am very, very grateful for you. So yes, happy Lunar New Year. Thank you guys. I'm so glad this was a confirmation for you, Tara, to let your life be a moving prayer. It's not about rituals. It's not about this perfect, fixed consistency or rigidity and how it plays out. I do see that it's this ebbing, flowing, constantly guided thing that we're not separate from. I find many people go, "Oh, I want your gifts," or "I want to know." And I'm like, it's just a listening. It's a willingness to show up as you are, imperfect, and just try stuff. And I like that the universe tends to be kind of gentle, that it doesn't ask you to do insane stuff right away. It's usually like, I have a thing that I wrote where I was like, God would be like, go get ice cream. And I'd be like, but I'm not supposed to. It's not good for you. The sugar and the milk and the dietary restrictions. And it was like, you're going to enjoy it. Go get ice cream. And even being willing to go get ice cream put me in a position to have a beautiful conversation with someone or have a door open for me. And then it'd be like, "Whoa, what are the chances? Ice cream. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Thanks, God. And I really like the ice cream." That I find that listening to those little pings, go to that shop, wander around, go into that park, why not? That I found that it was very gentle with me at the beginning and, and would guide me. Um, Go to sleep, Megan. Drink some water, Megan. I'm like, okay. And then as I would do that and I would gain some trust and gain some momentum and gain some faith in this thing, then it would be like, "Oh, say this thing." I'm like, "I shouldn't know that." And it would be like, "No, say it." And then someone would cry and be like, "That was so meaningful to me," or "I needed to hear that." And then I'd go, "Oh, I'm glad I did that then." I didn't know what that meant. I had literally no concept. Um, and then it built my trust, and then it built momentum, and it built a foundation for me to be able to come here and just open my mouth and say stuff and know what those symbols and signs and meanings were because I'd practiced them. So that's the moving prayer that I see. Good to know that receiving good gifts does not depend on our being perfect. Oh, heck no. Zero possibility. No, I've definitely tried to like punish myself for not being perfect and not being able to share things because I'm not perfect. Nobody is. Anybody who says they're lying. Unless it's Buddha, I guess, or like Jesus, because they're like an ascended master and they're just there with all of it. No, but I feel like the human journey is really messy and sloppy and weird and snotty and awkward and full of mistakes and failures and whatever we define them as. But no, none of us have got it. We're all learning and holding each other through it and reflecting things with each other. So that idea of perfect is mad, at least for me. And it was a huge block, a huge limiting belief for me that I had to be this some ideal version. I'm not. I mean, maybe a son and master, huh, fun, but like, I'm not. I am a person who forgets a lot of times to do this work too. And then I pick myself up and I try again. And then I lose my cool and then I go in despair and then I pick myself up and try again. I will say the one thing that I have been is willing and, um, yeah, messy with it, and then just willing to accept that too, because here we are, as we are. So thanks for accepting me in this never to be expected. Oh, I'm ending. No, I'm not. All of it that these lives are, these videos are, for those of you guys who tune in and spend time together. Yeah, let's all get over that idea that there's this perfect place to be. Nah, it's a journey. We're all figuring it out. Nobody knows. So that's why we're here on earth learning stuff, growing. Okay. All right. Willing. Let's just try again. Fuck that up. Excuse me. That didn't work. All right. Well, I learned something new, I hope. Gosh, I used to get so mad at myself. Years of journaling of like, when will you learn? And then being like, I am. I am. So let's all be a little nicer to ourselves through the process because it's hard. It's a dense place, Earth. These lessons are not easy. It's not easy to be like, oh, let me just quit. Like, wouldn't we all just do that? Wouldn't we all just be like, oh, yes, of course. No, there's a reason it's serving us. It's a reason that we've held on to it for safety. There's a reason there was momentum behind it. There was a reason for all of the reasons why we're here. So like when we give ourselves a dang break and go like, okay, well I don't know and this is a mess, but God hold my hand, show me the next step. uh, all right, I love you guys. I am really gonna sign off now because my little alarm, I have an alarm that says go to bed because I forget to do that stuff. Um, really basic human tasks like eating and peeing and going to bed at normal hours, I forget, so I set myself alarms. I need reminders for a lot of things, so I love you. Good night. Send a little message, share this with someone you love, whatever. Um, cool. Bye. How do I close this?